I'm going to open our board meeting for this evening, and I'm going to ask everybody to please stand and join me in the. Actually, I would like to ask Nick, who's just about wrapping up his end of time with us, who's been an awesome support with the Benicia Herald. Would you lead us in the pledge, please? Thank you. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I do want to say thank you, Nick, because you have been a great support for us. And when we've called on you, you've been right there to help us. So thank you for that. And we wish you the best of luck. I want to see famous things about you as you move forward. Okay, with that said, I'd like to call for an approval of the agenda, please.
Move for approval of the agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the agenda passes as stands. Okay, Dr. Young, our highlight, please.
Yes, I'd like to welcome, thank you, Alberto Bricenas to the podium to share some of the wonderful work that he is doing with our students and our staff, integrating technology into our schools. It's a wonderful job. So welcome.
Thank you. Well, that's fine. While I'm waiting for my presentation, my name is Alberto Barcenas. This is my 5th year working for Benicia Unified and my 14th year overall, and my 3rd year as the tech integration coach. So I support the 4 elementary schools and the middle school from TK to 8th grade. And this is my 2nd full year. My 1st year as tech coach, I was a little bit late from paternity leave. That's IT.
Oh, wow.
I can work this. So I just have some slides about my work. So when I started 3 years ago with Jan Rodzinski, we had a model at the elementary school where I would work with every grade level, starting from 5th grade down to TK. So my 1st year coming back from paternity leave, I worked with 5th grade, 4th grade, and 3rd grade. And then last year, between September and January, I worked with every single TK 1st and 2nd grade classroom. And that's a credit to the teachers for being willing to work with me. We would meet and we would build our lessons off of the 2016 ISTE student standards, which we adopted, and used the Samurai model and Common Sense Media's digital citizenship frameworks. And these are just some of the images from my work with TK 1st and 2nd. Some work with iPads. 1st grade students in Benicia have Google accounts for the first time, so it's the slow process of getting them logged in and doing some work in Google Classroom and just a little bit of teaching of digital citizenship and logging off appropriately. So that's just my work between September and January. I also work at the middle school, and these are not grade level collaboration. It's just whichever teacher reaches out to me or who I reach out to. I have a great relationship with the electives department, with the art teacher, with Pat Hall, who is a fantastic teacher and had some Chromebooks and wanted to know what could I do with these Chromebooks. And so last year we did, in the left-hand side, that Steve Carell picture, that's all done on Google Drawings by students. Also the one on the far right, and it's a really slow process. It's called vector portraits of just piecing together, say, Steve Carell's face, using shapes and colors. And I learned a lot too because I'm not an artist, and Pat wasn't as strong in tech, but together we became a good team, and we've done some work this year, and we're planning to do some work with art and green screen that's coming up. So I just love that collaboration. I also worked with the science department last year, history, math, and also using the same standards. I feel like in my job, I can help build some tech resources because I go to the 4 elementary schools in the middle school. I can bring these resources to the schools that they may not have. And so these are just some of the ed services tech tools and resources that we built last year, from little Bebot robots for TK 1st and 2nd grade to small computers that we programmed in upper grades. We did breakouts, 3D printing. We got a Google Expeditions card, so we were doing virtual reality, and that card went to every single school last year, the 4 elementary schools and the middle school that I support. And the idea is that this year, these resources can be checked out by teachers, having done lessons with me, hopefully feeling confident enough that they can check them out. I can deliver them to them, and then they can build their lessons. I did with these tech tools and resources. I did 180 lessons last year between TK and 8th grade, and this is again teachers being willing to collaborate with me. I also had a lot of success last year doing tech integration activities. So last year we had weeks for Hour of Code in December. Read Across America was fun. Music in Our Schools, and then National Robotics Week. And I just offer these lessons to the 4 elementary schools, and then teachers sign up, and it's pretty consistent across the 4 elementary schools who signs up with me. So this year, starting in September, I've started working again with TK in 5th grade. I've reached out to 1st grade teachers to see if they want support with getting their students logged into their Google accounts, because it is a scary thing. Some 1st grade students pick up the Chromebook and say, "This is a strange iPad." There's a lot of touching of the screen, so it's just getting them adjusted to the trackpad and how you move the screen up and down. But once I feel like if you don't tell, especially the littles, that they can't do it, you'll be surprised what they can do if you just allow them, and you have a lot of adult support in the room. So we're working with the same standards, and I've been doing some programming with BBots and OZBots. I have teachers requesting the items, which is what we really want, as them checking them out, and I'm happy to drive them to the schools and drop them off. At the middle school, I've worked with Pat Hall already, our art teacher. So the image on the far left, this year Pat brought an art activity to me that I had no idea how to do, but together we were able to have the kids do Zentangles, which is the heart on the left, and that again is done on Google Drawings. I've worked with leadership. They promote a lot of things at the middle school, a lot of events that are happening. So we worked on Google Drawings and building their own posters that they could then print and put around the school or send out to parents. Breakout EDU has been a really popular activity. That's like a no-tech activity, hands-on, collaboration, problem-solving, communication, and that I've done between TK and 8th grade. This year I'm planning, or already had, a celebration of International Dot Day. There's a wonderful book by Peter H. Reynolds about making your mark. And so I offered that activity through iPads to the elementary schools. I was able to collaborate with Lisa Sari at Matthew Turner, and she hosted the International Dot Day activity at Matthew Turner and had an activity with every single classroom at that school. So she did a whole week of having the kids believe that they can be artists and that they can make a mark in the world. I worked with the librarian at Joe Henderson to collaborate on that activity, and then I also did it at Robert Simple and at Mary Farmer. And I'm planning a National Space Week in October, again, Digital Citizenship Week, and then Hour of Code in December. And then this year, with the help of Ed Services and Donors Choose, we have a 3D printer at each elementary site, so that's something that I want to get up and going. I finally found a 3D design app that I think will work with our first generation iPads. And then we have the green screen that we'll be using, and I have my first lesson on Monday, and I've warned the teacher that it might not be pretty the first time, but I am very comfortable in this role with failure, because from failure comes success. So, and then of course our Ed Services tech tools and resources are available to check out. So I'm lucky to say in my 14th year of teaching, I've never loved my job more. And I really feel like I found a home here in Benicia. I worked for 10 years back in Massachusetts, and it was very difficult for me to leave that job. But I don't think about it as much anymore because I'm very happy where I'm at now. So
That's awesome.
yes.
So I
I'd
have a-
like to point, oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I just have a quick question. So I saw today, I was in the library with Lisa, and I saw Quiver. Is that the app that you were working with?
Yes.
Is that right, Quiver?
Quiver. It's
Yeah.
So the students made their marks, their dots on
Correct.
on this special piece of paper, and then it creates it into an augmented reality shape. It looks like a sphere, and the kids are able to manipulate that. And yeah, we did that from kindergarten. I did from kindergarten all the way up to 5th grade.
And some of them were getting pretty proficient because they were actually I don't know how they were doing it. I wouldn't even pretend to try, but they were maneuvering it like through a maze once they got this figure off the paper. And
Right.
it was just pretty incredible to watch. It was
Yeah.
very fascinating.
Other than showing them how to get the object off the paper, we
Right.
really don't tell them anything else because they problem solve and they figure out, and then they figure out things I don't even know are possible.
Mhm.
So,
No, it was great. I was just fascinated. I was in awe today. Thank
I'd
you.
like to just point out too, thank you for your great work. And then whenever I see you out in the field and you're in classes with kids, you're just totally engaged. You're in it with them, learning with them, just doing the activities with them. It's really impressive to see, especially we were with the kindergartners. I think that was so cool. You're right in there with.
my daughter's in kindergarten, so I have some experience with that age group.
That's good. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you. So we have no students with us this evening?
I could report for the high school,
Okay.
and I'm sure when Kim gets up, she can report for Liberty. The high school, if you haven't watched Panther TV, be sure and do that. It's outstanding. I don't know how they could be so good at the beginning of the year, so I'm really looking forward to the end of the year to see everything they come up with. Tomorrow's a rally at lunchtime. The theme is Make It Blue. They play St. Pat's tomorrow night, so if you're going to the football game, buy your tickets now. They expect it to be packed at the football game. Homecoming is coming up. October 12th is the homecoming game. Dance is on the 13th. Voting starts on Monday. Next Friday, September 28th, is a parent forum in the morning and at the high school in L2 and L3, 8 a.m. Coffee and donuts and whatever else would be provided on that. And also next Friday night is an improv at the Performing Arts Building, the Haley Horn Auditorium at 7 p.m. So that's all I know what's going on at the high school. And I don't know, Kim, if you want to give now while we're talking students, or it's student report.
I'll just pick this over here. We've had a great week, a couple weeks. Our students are really digging into the greenhouse and getting to know the guest artists that are coming in and working with our kids. They're coming out in paint in their suits and like showing me what they're painting. They're really loving it. Big thanks to Northgate Church for they've started their breakfast with us on Thursdays, and it smells so good in the hallway in the morning. We have a couple of field trips planned. We're going out to the Arsenal to see some artists out there. The kids are excited to see how art comes off the page. I like that phrase. And it's using different mediums. And just generally thankful for the outpouring of just community support and people showing up and saying, how can I help? And meeting, and the mentors are starting to link with their kids this week. And it's really exciting to see the kids are like, I was waiting for you. And so it's really cool. So that's what's happening at our school.
Right. Well, thank you, students. You did a great job tonight reporting. Okay, and now for the superintendent's report. Okay.
Thank you. Just a couple of items. We had a meeting with prospective trustees last week, and there were 5 of them there. And everybody on the management team, we all presented and provided information about the LCAP strategic plan and all the work, and all the departments that focuses on our students. So I think that was a productive evening. We said we'd meet for an hour, and I think we met for 2 hours. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that was helpful. We had back to school night this week at the high school, and it's good every year, but man, it was amazing this year. Maybe I say that every year, but it was incredible, and the parent turnout was great, and lots of parents came up to me during the evening, just unsolicited, and say, "Wow, this is incredible. I'm so happy with my teacher. It feels really good here." So that was a great night. Dr. Gill and I had an opportunity to go around together. So it's a wonderful evening. Another quick point I'd like to share is have an opportunity to visit as many classrooms as possible and to continue to make that a focus. And doing it recently was so impressed by the level of engagement I see from elementary, middle, and high school, just deep levels of engagement with teachers and students. And one thing that was particularly interesting to me, and Ms. Delorfes, I hope you don't mind me share. Too late now. I'm going to share it.
She's already put you-
But I thought it was really, I thought it was great. So I think Miss Rice was working with you guys over at Farmer and Dr. Beatson, and they were having a conversation with the students about, their own learning. They were looking at the SBAC data. And I think that if I get it right, the teachers were, and I think if I get it right, the question posed to the students was, how can we help you as teachers, better meet your needs? What can we do instructionally to help you along? And in Miss DeLorifus's room, she has this, a list of the things that the kids said, and it was really insightful. And one of the things that she shared, and it's a risk, doing that with the students, and a good risk. But one of the things she shared was the students asking her if they would write when they wrote. So would you write when we write? And I remember when I was a high school English teacher, now decades ago, that was a big deal then. And just taking that risk to sit down and write with the students and their level of comfort around it with them. So it's very impressive. So I want to thank you for doing that. And she's got the Ms. DeLorifus has that list posted in her room, and you were sharing with me that they sort of reference it. Now you're going to hold you accountable. So they reference it as they go through. Totally, it was really neat. So my main point here is just these high levels of engagement that I'm seeing as I travel throughout the district. So thanks to teachers.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Are there any board members that would like to make a report?
I just wanted to echo my experience at the back to school night at the high school. So it's my second time through with a child at the high school, and it's just night and day difference in when my daughter went through. And I know I read a while back an article, it was in the New York Times, about the importance of a strong principal. But I do think that this high school is really on a good track, and the engagement, the community, through sports, through arts and drama, and through the band, and the coming together that's occurring at the high school is just tremendous. That wasn't there when my daughter went through high school, and I want to give a lot of credit to Principal Kleinsmith, the administration, the teachers, everyone who's pulled together over there. It's really great. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I just want to echo on the back to school night was really well attended, and a lot of good conversations and stuff. Also, Benicia Youth Action Coalition meeting, reporting on that we're digging into the Czech report on preventive programs that we are going to look into funding and direction for us to go to, and so that's a lot of good information for helping us educate on drugs and alcohol and smoking, and we're really looking into the smoking and the vaping, and which I know there's an issue of vaping at the high school. Right. So we're really looking into that and how we could bring education and preventive programs to the high school and Liberty as well. So that's a direction that BYC is going. That's it.
Okay. I had the opportunity last week to walk Turner, and this week I walked the middle school. So it's been really fun to get out there. I agree, the level of engagement has been pretty awesome. Watching the students maneuvering around and the teachers with pretty I'm going to say like a limited amount of instruction, because those kids are already humming. It's pretty amazing how you've gotten them going already, and it's only like we're about a month into school. So I think it bodes real well. It looks like it's been an awesome start. And today I got to experience Quiver. Rabbit just gone already. That was pretty amazing. That was pretty impressive, because that's beyond my scope now. I don't do that anymore. So I'm watching this ball come off the iPad screen, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I got into a science class today, and they were doing virtual learning with the classroom. They were on the National Geographic program, and they were with 8 other classes from around the world. They were from Canada and the US. We went from Nova Scotia to British Columbia. They were in Toronto. They were in Michigan. There was one in New Jersey, and there was one in Wisconsin, I think. Those were all the classes that they were talking about ocean plastics and the impact of the ocean plastics on the natural habitat and things that they can do as they grow and become more aware of the environment themselves and how they can become keepers. So it was pretty impressive and pretty exciting. And what I thought was amazing about it is these kids were in it. They were taking their notes, they're talking, they're drawing their little pictures, and then of course they keep the screens on mute so that you're not hearing the chatter within each of the classrooms, but they were giving their teacher, put this question up there, see if they'll answer that. And sure enough, the moderator was in fact coming back and reading. They would say, okay, this is from Matthew Turner in Benicia, California now, and they're in Northern California if you're looking on your map. And he would kind of give that information, and then he'd respond to the kids. So what a great opportunity. So they were sharing that experience. Robert Semple was also on at the same time. So it was really kind of cool. It's like both of them in the same district, and here they were both competing with this. So it was pretty impressive. I have been excited to see some of the experiences that our children are getting. So it's been a great growth, and I'm excited and very pleased with it. So I want to just say thank you to everyone, because I think you're giving kids fabulous opportunities. With that said, need to put the microphone back on. Okay, so now it's time for the public. Members of the public may address the board on any item within the board's jurisdiction. Cards which may be completed requesting to address the board are available at the back table and may be submitted to the board secretary at the meeting. The governing board allows speakers to speak on agendized and non-agendized matters under public comment. Comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker. By law, no action may be taken on any item raised during the public comment periods, and matters may be referred to staff for placement on a future agenda of the governing board. And we have JoJo.
I think I broke it, Betty.
Oh, that's it. You're in trouble.
Just put it. You won't be able to adjust it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hi, JoJo Donetti, Benicia Community Tennis Association. Your Benicia High girls tennis team is now 5-0. We just won our game about an hour ago. So that continues our undefeated record of 78-0 over the last 5.5 years. Also in BCTA land, on Labor Day, we held a ball fundraiser for the high school teams. For the team, we have about $200 for supplies. We blew that in 4 cases of balls, and that wasn't even enough to get us through practices for the season, let alone matches. So 4 cases, 96 cans. So we held a fundraiser on Labor Day, and in that fundraiser, we had 25 people participate in a 3-hour clinic, and we received 177 new cans of tennis balls and 120 gently used practice balls. So we're set for the girls' season, and we may even be set for the boys' season. So that was fantastic. 3 hours to get that kind of participation from the tennis community for the kids. And then what we also did recently is we donated $1,000 for the girls' warm-up jerseys. So we'll be getting those printed out with the logo that the captains have chosen. And then final note, although the tech guy is gone, for some of the technology for your kids, what we've done in my day job is with the County of San Diego Public Library System, we've deployed 3D printers and HP Sprout imaging devices, 3D imaging devices, and we've integrated it with some of the curriculum in the school system, and the kids just love it. They're able to go there, do their homework, print out, World War II tanks and everything. So just a suggestion for your tech guy.
Jojo, I'd also like to add too, I hope you don't mind, that once in a while I'll walk out in the tennis courts and there's a stray ball or two and I'll take it home, and man, that makes my dog Tucker so happy.
It should,
He meets me at the car and I give him a ball and he's good. So
exactly, yeah. Some of those really old balls that just don't bounce anymore.
Yeah, if they're really good,
we hit them
I leave
over the
with it,
fence for the dogs to come by and pick them up.
She's going to be watching you now.
You're going to have to bring back 2 cans of new ones.
Yeah, well, you got to replace them. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar are considered by the board to be routine and will be approved by the board in one motion. There will be no discussion on these items unless members of the board, staff, or public request specific items to be pulled and discussed. Is there any? Okay, I'm going to call for a request from the motion for to approve the consent calendar.
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar as submitted.
I'll second that.
We need a roll call vote. President Ferrucci,
Resolution? Yes.
Trustee Holguin,
Yes.
Trustee Monette,
Yes.
Trustee Morgan, Trustee Wing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to move on to discussion items. The first one is the report and discussion on Liberty's high school internship program. Dr. Young.
Thank you very much. I'd like to invite Principal Lewis to the podium, and I'm going to turn the introduction over to Dr. Beatson, although obviously I've been involved in this, as we're really excited about it, and I'd let Dr. Beatson share her enthusiasm about the great work that Ms. Lewis is involved in.
Sure thing. Thank you so much. We're really excited to have Kim here to present the work that she's done in her very short tenure here with Benicia Unified. A couple of years ago, we started thinking about how do we continue to provide amazing experiences for our students over at Liberty? How do we continue to grow our program? What is it that our students at Liberty really need from us beyond getting across the stage at graduation? And so a year and a half ago, we went to visit a school in Fresno, California, that does an internship program. They work with an organization called Big Picture Learning, who have developed these MET schools. Some of them are called MET schools. The original one is in Providence, Rhode Island. And it integrates several best practices, one being internships, where kids do on-the-job learning and get school credit for that. So we got a little dabbled in that a little bit last year, started looking at how could we make this happen. And since Kim's been on board, she's really started talking with the teachers and getting ready to roll that out. But before she did, she wanted to come and share all this great work with you.
Thank you very much. Good evening, President Ferrucci. Sorry. I won't say she was my third grade teacher. Okay. Fellow trustees, the community members, and Superintendent Young, thank you for tonight. Thank you for that lovely introduction, Dr. Beatson. When I first took this job, they said, oh, and by the way, there's an internship. I'm like, oh, okay. So I dove into it, and I really wanted to ask questions like, what is big picture learning? What is it for? And I had a bit of the background of it's a new program. It's about internships, but I wanted to ask the questions why. Why are we doing this for our Liberty students? And Dr. Beatson did a really great. Thank you for the introduction about how, like how did it come into? There was a grant money working with Big Picture, but I sat down with my teachers and I said, well, tell me more about the why of this. Why for our students? And they said, that diploma is incredibly important, and the work that my teachers do with Liberty, they're phenomenal. But they said, we have to do more. We have to get them ready for beyond that step. How can we get them prepared? And if it's not this, then how can it be something over here? And so giving them the 21st century skills, putting them into real life learning settings that are beyond the classroom, and most importantly, giving them choices, giving them access to choices that if you don't want to do the college path, you can do a career path. If it's not this path, it's for you. But giving them the choice, the access to choices. And one of my teachers said, that's what's important. Keeping the student in the center of this work drives us. And so from that point on, I was like, you sold me, let's go. So, I do have if you will indulge me, I have a little presentation for you that kind of gives a background of the work that we've done so far. Let's see. So first and foremost, it's student driven. Regardless of whatever path, the three pathway that the students can take, all students will be a part of an interest exploration. All students will develop a portfolio. All students will look into what they're interested in beyond the high school. The first path is some students are just like, I'm here, I want to go back to the comprehensive high school, we just want to get our credits, that's fine, but they're still going to be working on 21st century skills. The next part, Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're redesigning our Tuesdays and Thursdays as advisory as we fold in how students can prepare themselves for the workforce. And students are learning 21st century skills. They're getting up and doing presentations. They're working on project-based learning that connects to their interests. And slowly we are scaffolding up towards getting kids to be able to articulate not only in their writing, but in their collaboration work, being able to present within the classroom. And the third path is for students that are fully implemented in the internship project. These students will go out on Tuesdays and Thursdays where they'll connect their project-based learning, what they're learning in the classroom, and taking it into a real-life setting workplace. Picture up here, I've got, I'll get into it sooner, but the idea of working with the arts, which our students are really tapping into, an internship with glass blowing. Finding community partners. And I'm going to tell you, the community is absolutely amazing here and how they reach out to my Liberty kids. I will never stop talking about that. Each intern is required to do a portfolio that includes a resume, introduction interviews, exit interviews. They have to work with their advisor on how they can be a self-advocate for themselves within the workforce, within the workplace. And all of this is being supported not only in the classroom, but with their mentors and advisors. Kind of like the nuts and bolts of all this, how it works. The students are, once again, are the center of the learning, and how they're engaged and challenged, what really makes it authentic and relevant for them. They finally understand that the math that they're doing in class and the projects that they're doing with the math connects directly to that life experience workplace. So I wish I could have had the video, but the kids have to submit to me not only their survey of interest, but they're sending me videos through emails. Like, can I use a filter? Of course you can use a filter of why they want to be an intern. Why should they go out? And next time I show you guys, these are awesome. They're like, I'm good, I am articulate, I'm a people pleaser, I know how to, they're just great. Students that complete a survey based on their interests. This data helps determine who we connect with the students and the workforce. Then once they've done the survey, we see what's out there. And a lot of people I've been slowly talking to community members. They're like, I may not be able to do this, but I may know somebody that would want to have a high school student come to my work and work on my webpage, or work on a brochure, or work on how do I don't know this whole Twitter thing. And so we're starting to create those connections with the community of how we can, what I call matchmake. Advisors. Advisors are the key to this. The advisors are the advocates for our students as they go out. The advisors at our school are required to touch bases every day that the student is out in the at their internship placement. The advisors are in charge to make sure that their timesheets are signed, that the attendance is done correctly, and to make sure that they, once again, that advocacy for the student, to make sure that the student knows that they're supported not only on campus, but out there among the community. The scope of work. Students, once again, we're going to develop a portfolio. So when they walk away from this internship, they say, this is what I'm able to do. I can stand before you and say, this is what I've done. Here is my resume. I can stand up and be articulate. I can be a self-advocate for myself. And I may have thought that I wanted to work with children, but I don't want to anymore. So this idea that they have to sit with an exit interview and stand up and say these sort of things. So it may not, the kids are telling me, like, I really want to do this, I really want to do that. I'm like, line it up, because you're going to have to tell me the whole way that you're going to help you get through this journey. Our program, once again, is creating a college and career pathways that connects students with the community. Once again, the community is one of the staunch supporters of this. It is one of my pillars of my foundation. It is student-driven, and how this kids are able to explore their interest and connect with their interests, which makes it relevant and real, especially for my students. And there's wraparound support. I want to keep remind you that there always will be somebody as a watchdog for my students as they go out into the community. Big picture learning model. There's 65. I'm really excited. I get to go meet with a lot of other big picture schools the next coming up week. They help foster positive relationships. They're able to help raise graduation rates, which is a key important for my students. And there is a network of support that I can reach out as myself to other schools. How is this working? What did you do for this? In parent involvement, we've been talking to parents. They're the ones that come in, we sit down and we talk. They're really excited because they want to know how beyond high school can we keep further helping their child. I also have a list of guest speakers that are coming in. I pulled up a parent and said, what do you do? If I can't get a student out to your job, are you willing to come in and talk to my students? I have county sheriffs, I've got nurses, I've got a retired woman welder who's ready to come in to talk to our students. So students that are not able to go out, we are bringing people to them. Some of the people that have actually reached out to me and said, we want to help. Arts Benicia, huge. They are phenomenal. Even right here within our school, Unified School District, other schools have said, we need help. If we can get one of our students to help with the art class with little kindergartners or whatever it is, they said, we would love for you to bring your students up so they can have an internship working with the youth. The city library would like, absolutely, we have places for you. And the Rotary, which is one near and dear to my heart because they take us under their wing. Now, behind the scenes, there's logistical things that we need to be aware of. We are in contact with the financial auditors to make sure that our ADA is correct, the instructional minutes are correct. I have no problem coming over to Tim Rahill and say, I need your help, because he's my numbers guy. Liability insurance, we're addressing those issues as well. And I have a plan of informational rollout, not only to the community members, but to the students, to the Chamber of Commerce, and especially our parents. So our hope for this internship project is that it gives our students a sense of belonging and purpose, that they can plan beyond life past high school, redefining liberty and making an exemplary example of alternative ed, and make our hometown proud of these resilient young people. Thank you. Any questions?
What's your enrollment this year at Liberty, and how many students are involved in the internship program?
Our enrollment, we actually started pretty high. We just enrolled 2 more kids. We're at 74 right now, which is pretty big for this time of year. Mm-hmm. Every single one of my students are involved in the internship project. Depends on the path of which they want to take. My goal would probably be maybe 15, 20 positions. If I'm small steps, big gains. Mm-hmm. And there's a strict academic and behavior qualifications that the students have to adhere to, and sell it to me. Why should I pick you? Give me what you got. And so the kids are like, I got this, Miss Lewis, here I am. So while every student's involved in the project, it depends on which path they get to take. And like I said, there is guidelines for which they have to adhere to.
What more would you need from more kids to be able to do more?
Probably spaces, like actual internship spots. I've been working just kind of quietly talking with community members. I'm going to say her name because she's been my neighbor forever. Leanne Colley at Benicia Plumbing, working with the people at the chamber, the Seroptimus group.
I have my feelers out. I have probably a good solid 8 spots, 10 spots right now, but I've been very cautiously talking to people. I didn't want to like jump the gun and do some knee jerk, hey, by the way, sort of stuff.
Yes.
I want to make sure all my,
That makes sense. And
yeah.
positions essentially for the kids.
Exactly. Sorry,
Okay.
that was the question. Yes, positions.
No. You answered well. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Ms. Lewis, I'm going to ask you another question as well. Have you, last board session, and help me if I don't remember this correctly, but Valero came and they were asking how they can support the school, what we would need and what ways they would be able to become a better partner or a stronger partner. So is that something that you can reach out to that you feel would be appropriate at this level of rollout with your new program?
I've been talking with June Regis with Adult Ed, and there is some working with the unions and working in those type of environments. There is restrictions with OSHA, being 18 years old and older, chemicals and all that kind of stuff. So we've thought about that, but Valero absolutely can send people to my site and talk to kids, mentor kids. I have a lot of kids interested in the trades. Unfortunately, there are some age restrictions and all that. Talking with Bill Colley and talking with June Regis about how we can do it. There's a tour that we can take our kids to the unions, and they actually get on a bus and away we go. But there is some restrictions for age and that OSHA piece.
Right.
Including us, there's a security perimeter. So like when we do CAP meetings, we do it outside the perimeter.
Oh, okay.
So they have a very difficult time letting people
Get onto the site itself. Okay, that makes sense. I was like they were so eager and so excited at the last board meeting. I was thinking, wow, here's a great opportunity. So but if they could come to you, that's even
they come to me, and that's how I got my one of my very rare female welders wanting to come in. I couldn't send them to her, but she can definitely come to us. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and just to let you know, we're trying to do a launch second semester, so fingers crossed. So hopefully I'll have some further news next time I see you guys. Thank you.
Sounds great. Good luck. Thank you very much. Okay. Next, we are on to our non-consent action item. I have to do a public hearing. So I'm going to close the board meeting. I'm going to open the public hearing for Resolution 18-19-17, which is regarding sufficiency or insufficiency of instructional materials. Dr. Beetson?
Yes. Thank you. Every year, Ed Code requires that the governing board approve an annual resolution stating that each student is provided the materials needed to support this year's course instruction. Every year, we work with our principals and with our teachers to make sure that we have books for the number of enrolled in each course. When we don't, they notify us, we provide them what they need. So that's all happened. And so what we're looking for tonight is approval that we have this resolution.
Can you share with us how do the online textbooks fall into this support category for this?
Yes, so we have a couple of classes that are using online text that will probably be happening more and more, and it does. So every student in the class that has the online textbook has a laptop that they have at school, and they can access the online textbooks at home. And we can also, because it's, the name just went out of my head, the ones you use. OpenStax. We can also download, so if a student doesn't have access and we're having those printed in case the computer's not working that day, we're going to have a small set of 5 or 10 available in the classroom or for a student to check out should we need those. And that's all free, yes.
Does anybody have any questions of Dr. Beeson? Are there any comments or questions from the public? Okay, hearing none and seeing none. I am going to close the public hearing. And I'm going to open the board meeting. And now I'm going to ask for a recommendation to approve resolution number 17-18-03 with a roll call vote, please, Mrs. Jensen.
President Ferrucci?
Yes.
Trustee Holguin?
Yes.
Trustee Monette?
Yes.
Trustee Morgan?
Yes.
Trustee Wing?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is 13.2. It's consideration and approval of the attached amendment to the contract between the superintendent and the Benicia Unified School District. Typically, what happens is that we actually do a review with the superintendent. We go through a pretty lengthy evaluation process, and when it's time for, at the end of each year, we actually do it twice a year, I believe, that we do an evaluation of Dr. Young. And right now, his contract is up, and it reflects the a raise and also an extension of his contract. Are there any comments or questions from those?
His contract was actually up in end of June.
Correct.
We put it off to wait till all the other negotiations was completed.
That's correct.
The other thing is the evaluations were to once a year now. It was his first 2 years or 3 years was every 6 months, and then so now it's going to be once a year evaluations. And that was part of the agreement when we hired him, that we wanted to make sure that as a board that we have a superintendent who was working the way the board and the district wanted, as well as be able to meet with the superintendent and get his needs and requirements and kind of bounce off each other. What's working, what's not working. How could we work better together, and how could he work better together? So, we figured that was enough time of doing it every 6 months. So now we're up to once a year now. So,
Any other comments?
I just wanted to say, especially since this is my last year on the board, that of my time on the board, the one thing that I am most proud of or reflect upon is I was on the panel that had the opportunity to interview the candidates for superintendent, and ended up selecting Dr. Young. And of the decisions that I've made as a member of this board, I am most proud of that one. That selecting Dr. Young and the leadership that we hoped that you would exhibit, and you've outperformed my expectations. That you've taken difficult challenges head on. You've had some very challenging experiences, from crises to situations to taking on societal issues, confronting the city with courage and diplomacy and compassion and empathy. And I'm proud to have you representing the district and acting as its chief executive. And I'm glad you're willing to accept this contract and stay on with us. So thank you.
Our contract language says if you've performed satisfactorily, then we have the opportunity to extend your contract. And I think the rest of the board is in agreement that you way exceeded that satisfactory level, and we appreciate all the work that you've done. And we're just happy to have you continue.
I also just want to reflect from parents. I've had many letters and conversations with parents who are just happy that you have come to our district and are well pleased with just the way you interact with them and take on those challenges and those conversations, and you truly hear what they're saying. So I'll just reflect that too.
I would like to say, I think what I admire about you most is that I think you are a grounded and thoughtful person, and that you really work to come from a place of integrity and honesty, and you also have the ability to self-reflect and to consider how you're performing and how you're doing and decisions you do make, and make changes based on things that you think may not be working well, and also go forward, I think, with the strengths that you do have. So, yeah, thank you.
I would just like to say it is thank you for all of that, and an absolute honor to serve as your superintendent. And I very much appreciate your confidence in my leadership. So thank you very much.
With that said, I need a motion to approve the amendment to the superintendent's contract.
Make a motion to approve the amendment to the superintendent's contract.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we have one, do I have to do the October 4th meeting after I close the meeting?
No, you do not.
I can do that now. So we have an announcement. The October 4th regularly scheduled board meeting is going to be rescheduled, so we'll get an email out and we'll get notice out appropriately. It's creating a conflict for several of us, so we're going to change that. So please keep your eyes and ears open for an email and announcements on our website. As soon as we come to a date and a plan, we will get that out to you right away. Okay?
So, we can't reschedule it due to the Brown Act, we've already voted on our scheduled dates, but we can cancel the meeting. So we will
We
be
are
canceling that
the fourth
meeting.
meeting, right?
And if we need to have a special meeting, we will have one.
Right.
And that would be the information that would be coming out.
Right. Okay, thanks for the clarification. Okay, with that said, I am adjourning this meeting. Thank you for coming.